when a model of the world's most advanced stealth fighter jet was personally handed over by a Chinese military attaché to the commander of the Iranian Air Force under the spotlight in Tehran. The backdrop happened to feature the commemorative fanfare of the Persian calendar's 19th day of the second month. Was this truly just a carefully selected gift meant to enhance the festive atmosphere? When I saw that photo from Iran's Air Force Day celebrations on February the 10th, my first thought wasn't that Iran was about to buy J-20s. Instead, I instantly recalled the scene from the 2017 Eagle-VI Joint Exercise closing ceremony, where our Western Theater Command Air Force commander presented the same model to the commander of Pakistan's Southern Air Command. 8 years on, Pakistan still flies F-16s and J-10Cs, no J-20s have touched down in Islamabad. History rhymes in peculiar ways. Now it's Tehran's turn. Yet the global clamor over 5th-generation fighter exports likely amounts to yet another beautiful misunderstanding. Let's set aside that sleek Dragon model for now, and take a hard look at the Iranian Air Force's current inventory. It feels like flipping through an aviation yearbook from the 1980s. Pages yellowed, edges curled. According to the International Institute for Strategic Studies' 2025 assessment, Iran's combat-ready tactical aircraft number a mere 230 to 250 at best. That might sound more than Singapore or Australia, but what treasures lie within those hangars? Less than 20 F-14s still capable of taxiing, their factory plate stamped 1976. The AWG-9 radar and Phoenix missile combination, that once sent shivers down Soviet pilots' spines, now suffers from such severe parts shortages that even landing gear seals must be machined on makeshift lathes. Some 50 F-4 Phantoms and F-5 Tigers, whose avionics remains stuck in the analog circuit era, radar signal noise often drowns out target echoes. Then there are those J-7 fighters imported from us during the Iran-Iraq War. Frankly, getting them airborne is a testament to the ground crew's extraordinary skills. These relics are essentially peacetime map drawers and wartime casualty counters when facing the US military's AIM-120C7 missiles. What's more painful is that Iranian pilots' annual flight hours have long been suppressed by sanctions to under 150 hours, while US pilots at Qatar's Al Udeid base, even those in secondary tanker squadrons, easily exceed 200 hours. This generational gap isn't something a few new aircraft can bridge, it's systemic hemorrhaging. Some might ask, didn't Iran purchase Su-35s from Russia? True, a contract signed in 2023, reportedly for 48 aircraft worth over $7 billion. Western intelligence leaks even detailed delivery timelines ranging from 16 to 48 months. But reality is often far bleaker than documents suggest. Over 2 years later, only a handful of Russian military aircraft have arrived at Tehran's Mehrabad airport, a few Yak-130 Jackdaw trainers, and several Mi-28 Apache helicopters. The true heavyweights, the Su-35 Southeast fighters, remain on production lines in Komsomolsk-on-Amur, waiting for engines and being prioritized for Russia's own combat readiness needs. The bottomless pit of the Russia-Ukraine conflict has drained Russia's aviation industry of its export capacity, resulting in zero Su-35 deliveries to foreign customers throughout 2024. Even if all 48 Su-35s were deployed to Iranian airfields, facing Israel's F-35I squadrons, which have established a complete kill chain, and the F-35Cs ready for catapult launches from the USS Lincoln, or USS Ford in the Persian Gulf. This remains a generational gap. Stare down. They lurk in the shadows while you stand exposed. Their radar cross-section is roughly equivalent to a crow, yet you must rely on ground radar stations operating in burn-through mode just to spot that crow. Thus, when the J-20 model appeared on Brigadier General Bahmanbezad's desk, it was all too easy to ignite the imagination. But any knowledgeable enthusiast knows our Dragon has already surpassed the F-22 Raptor in key metrics: supersonic cruise capability, stealth detailing, GaN active phased array radar, and next-generation avionics integration. The F-22's APG-77 radar still relies on outdated gallium arsenide technology, with signal processing cabinets as heavy as iron blocks. After our J-20's engine upgrade, the WS-15's thrust-to-weight ratio approaches 10:1. Not only can it sustain supersonic cruise, but it can also perform 9G maneuvers at Mach 1.8 while carrying 2 tons of ordnance. If an air superiority fighter of this caliber were to be deployed to the Iranian Air Force, even just one squadron, the rules of engagement over the Persian Gulf would be rewritten overnight. The problem is, This is precisely the option we are least likely to provide at present. The F-22 Raptor has been in service for nearly 2 decades, and its production line has been dismantled. Has even a single rivet been sold to allied nations? The Israelis have achieved 5th-generation air combat kill records with the F-35, yet Congress still maintains strict restrictions on F-22 exports. This isn't about money, nor is it about the depth of so-called alliances. It's the iron law of maintaining a technological moat through generational gaps in core capabilities. While China's military trade law and export control list don't explicitly ban the J-20, look at the indoor exhibits at the Zhuhai Air Show. The J-35E model takes center stage, flanked by cross-sections of the J-10CE and FC-31. Where's the J-20? It only flies in the sky, never displayed in static exhibits. That says it all. That viral Military Observer article hit the nail on the head. The sole unlock code for the J-20's export market is the 6th-generation fighter achieving combat readiness. Every J-20, J-20, or even the world-exclusive J-20, S2-seat loyal wingman variant rolling off Chengdu's pulsed production line is the ballast stone for the PLAF to maintain its technological edge in the Western Pacific before 2030. J-20, or even the globally unique J-20, S2-seat loyal wingman variant, all serve as ballast stones for the PLAF to maintain its technological edge in the Western Pacific before 2030. The annual production of 100 units aims to rapidly replace aging J-7 squadrons, not to fill arms dealers' showcases. Thus, a model remains just a model, it's not a letter of intent. So the question arises, if not selling aircraft, what exactly was our military attaché aiming for by publicly presenting this gift? This brings us back to that subtle unwritten rule within the military diplomatic context. Models are never just models. At the 2023 Jakarta Maritime Exhibition, our defense industry delegation presented Indonesia's defense minister with the Type 052D guided missile destroyer model, accompanied by a 3D printed submarine hull. Though Indonesia's Navy hasn't even signed an intent agreement for the 052D, this didn't prevent both nations from initiating negotiations on a joint maritime patrol agreement later that year. At Nigeria's 2019 Navy Day celebrations, buyers in Lagos even paid out of pocket for a 1/100 scale model of the Type 052C destroyer to gift their state governor. Though Nigeria never procured a single Type 056 frigate, construction began the following year on the deep-water port terminal in Nigeria that China was building. In many contexts, models represent a form of credit advance. Iran's current predicament has entered a countdown phase. February the 10th marked not only the Iranian Air Force Day, but also the eve of the 47th anniversary of the Islamic Revolution. President Raisi used the exceptionally rare phrase, a critical juncture of survival, in his televised address. Over Tehran, tactical data link signals from a US F-35E that had just shot down a Shahed-101 drone near the Syrian border could be intercepted. More subtly, this round of US-Iran confrontation had escalated from attacks on nuclear facilities, tanker interceptions, and proxy clashes to a tipping point where accidental conflict seemed imminent. Just 72 hours before the model's presentation, U.S. Central Command deployed an E-11, a battlefield communications node aircraft, to the Gulf, a tool typically used to clear paths for stealth fighters penetrating dense air defense networks. Amid this stormy atmosphere, the appearance of the J-20 model serves more as a paperweight pressing down on certain restless contingency plans. Its message is crystal clear. It's not that I'm selling you a 5th-generation fighter, but that someone doesn't want to see you wiped off the map just yet. Thus, the most significant value of this model gift may not lie in the brief moments captured by cameras, but in the closed-door discussions held behind closed doors. What Tehran truly needs to take away from Beijing isn't a non-exportable 1/72 scale fighter jet exhibit, but rather fragments of the entry ticket into the entire modern combat system. From jointly developing passive air defense identification algorithms tailored for the Persian Gulf's high salinity, high humidity environment, to circumventing sanctions by sharing real-time U.S. carrier strike group positioning data under the guise of civilian remote sensing satellites, to even exploring the possibility of establishing an alternative supply chain for Iran's F-14 fleet using industrial spare parts coding systems. These items won't appear in foreign ministry press conference transcripts, nor will they be sliced into 9 grid collages for social media frenzy. Yet their value to Tehran right now far exceeds that of a J-20 model.